As we observed in the last class that some energy is always lost in the process of magnetization and demagnetization of a ferromagnetic material, that is in a complete cycle of magnetization. So now here we calculate the dissipation of energy due to hysteresis per unit volume per magnetic cycle in a ferromagnetic material. Now we consider a specimen of ferromagnetic material, suppose say iron A, B, C, D. This is a specimen of iron of say volume unity of volume unity. In an external field H. Suppose this is a piece of iron ABCD. Whose volume is unity and it is placed in an external field H. Here large number of atomic or molecular magnets are there. Let the mth molecular magnet, which is a magnetic moment small pm, makes an angle, suppose say theta m, with the direction of H. Let the mth molecular magnet with say magnetic moment Pm makes an angle theta m with H. So this Pm has two components. If we one along the direction of H and another perpendicular direction to H. So along the direction of H, the component is Pm cos theta m and along perpendicular to H it is Pm sin theta m. So here a large number of molecular magnets are there. So the resultant magnetic moment along the direction of H and along perpendicular direction of H we have to calculate. Now the resultant magnetic moment along H the resultant or net magnetic moment along H is equal to sum over all the molecular magnets, sum over m, Pm resultant magnetic moment along perpendicular to H, that will be equal to sum over all the molecular magnets Pm sin theta. Now the magnetic moment which is induced in this material, which we measure, that is the magnetic moment along the direction of H. The magnetic moment which is produced along the direction of the external field, that is actually measured. So the magnetic moment along the perpendicular direction to H, that is equal to 0, because no magnetic moment is produced along the perpendicular direction to H. So the net magnetic moment in the material is capital Pm, that is sum over m Pm cos theta m, and the quantity along the perpendicular direction Pm sin theta m, that is equal to 0, as no magnetic moment is induced along the perpendicular direction to H. Now if we want to increase the magnetic moment in the material, that means we have to increase the external magnetic field. If we increase the value of the external magnetic field, then what will happen? This magnetic moment molecule will align itself in the direction of the H. It tries to, that is, it will rotate further by certain angle. This angle is decreased, the angle is decreased by d theta m. Suppose a infinitesimal increment in the Pm is there due to decrement in the angle by d theta m, then a small increment in the intensity of magnetization in Pm is given by, differentiate that one, dPm, you get sum over m Pm sin theta m d theta m. Minus sign will come and I write it is minus d theta m. Minus d theta m stands for the, minus stands for the angle is decreasing. The minus sign stands for the decrement in angle. Physically, which means as theta decreases, the Pm increases, or as Pm increases, theta decreases. Now, the molecular magnet was at this angle, now it is rotating by d theta. Whenever a dipole is, it is a magnetic dipole, So whenever any dipole is placed in an external magnetic field, whether it is electric dipole in an external electric field or magnetic dipole in the external magnetic field, a torque will act on this, that is, it try to rotate. Okay. Initially in this position, now it try to rotate. So a torque will act on this molecular magnet. The torque on each molecular magnet because this molecular magnet will experience a torque, that tau is equal to Pm cross H, cross product of these two, that is PmH sin theta. This is the torque experienced by this molecular magnet, MF molecular magnet. Now, the molecular magnet is rotated by an angle d theta. So, the work done on this molecular magnet, so the work done we have to calculate this torque into the angular displacement. Now the work done on each molecular magnet due to angular displacement minus d theta. This torque into d theta. So torque is this Pm H sin theta minus d. This is the work done on a single molecular magnet. So the total work done on all the molecular magnet is the sum over this. Therefore, the total work done on all the molecular magnets is total work done is sum over m Pm H sin theta m and what is the quantity that Pm, the total intensity of magnetization, that is Pm small increment sin theta m minus sin d theta m. This is the small increment, dPm is this one we have calculated earlier. Now substitute this value here, then the total work done you get H dPm. This is the total work done on the all the molecular magnets. Now the initially suppose our value of intensity of magnetization was PM1, then we want to increase the value to PM2. If intensity of magnetization because PM here we consider say a specimen of volume unity, and in that this intensity of magnetization is induced, so that is called the magnetic moment, or the intensity of magnetization, that is called the intensity of magnetization, changes from an initial value PM1 to a final value PM2. Then in that case the total work done that will be equal to, the sum will be replaced by, it will be integrating over this sum, it is PM1 to PM2 H dPm. So initially value was PM1, now want to increase its value up to PM2, then we have to take the sum over all such work done, the continuous sum. Now therefore, in a complete cycle of magnetization, so in a complete cycle of magnetization, starting from an initial value, again come to this initial value. So in a complete cycle of magnetization, the total work done will be equal to integration over a circular path, closed path, H dPm. So this is the total work done over a complete cycle of magnetization. So over a complete cycle of magnetization, sometimes work will be done on the material, sometimes work will be done by the material. So we have to calculate the total amount of work done by the external field and the total amount of work recovered from it, or work done by the material. If they are equal, then the process is reversible, and if they are not equal, that means irreversible process, and more work is done on the material then recovered from it, then the energy will be lost. Now we shall calculate the loss of energy per cycle of magnetization. Loss of energy per cycle of magnetization. This is the formula, the work done. Now, if we plot the intensity of magnetization with the external field, H is in this direction, is plotted, and say PM is plotted in this direction, or the magnetic induction B can also be plotted along this direction. Now, this is the initial position. Suppose this is the maximum saturation point L. Here it is, suppose L prime. Now when the external magnetic field is, suppose say, in a complete cycle of magnetization, the material is placed in the AC current, suppose within AC current. So in per second 50 times the polarity will change. So when the process of magnetization is going on, in that case when the magnetizing force is here, it retains certain magnetization here. So, or if we start from the beginning, then the material will follow this path. Intensity of magnetization will increase, comes up to this point. So, the material will follow this path initially. After that, when this is the saturation point is reached here, intensity of magnetization is reached at this point, saturation point. Now again when the external field is coming to zero, reduced, then it will not follow this path, initial path. It will follow this path that comes here. Certain residual magnetization it retains. After that, the external magnetic field is increasing in the opposite direction. So with a certain value of H, now the intensity of magnetization becomes 0, and then again this is its maximum value here in the opposite direction. Here the intensity of magnetization. Now again the magnetizing field comes to 0. It comes here, severe magnetization it retains. Then again it goes from here to here, again that will follow this path. So when a specimen of ferromagnetic material is subject to a cycle of magnetization, it will follow this path always. So let us start from this point. Suppose this point is, I give the name A, we suppose say M, B, C, D, E, F. Suppose this point is G. Now in this process of magnetization, if we consider a small rectangular path, suppose initially the magnetizing field was here, it retains certain magnetization. Now it increases up to this one, so the intensity of magnetization will reach here at this point, and the curve of H and PM follow this path. Now in this process, if we consider a small rectangular path here, which is your P, Q, R and S. You consider a small rectangular path here in the process of magnetization. Now see here, this part, this is PQ. Here is the increment in, that is dPm. And this part, this is a very steep path, it is more or less a rectangle. So if we take the average value here, that is the H. So your QR, which is approximately equal to PS, that is QR, which is approximately equal to your PS, that is equal to the value of H. So the area of this rectangular path in the process of magnetization we consider a rectangular path PQRS for which this PQ is equal to RS, that is equal to BPM, and QR, which is approximately equal to PS, that is equal to H. So area of the path, rectangular path PQRS, that is equal to H BPM, that is the work done. So in this process, when we start from this point, H is intensity of magnetization, this one OF, and H is starting increasing from here to here. So this will follow this path. This is the area enclosed by this H and DPM. So in that process, if we go on dividing it into a large number of small rectangular paths and calculate its area, then it gives you the total work done on the material by the external field. This gives you the total work done by the external field on the material. So the first stage is H is increasing. When H changes from O to OL, here to here, then PM changes from PM was here, now it comes here, from OF to OM, changes from minus OF to plus OM. So in this case, the work done by the work done on the material, on the material, obviously by the external field, is what will be the work done? The area of this shaded region, that is F G A M P O F, is equal to the area F G A M B O F. Area of this closed path is equal to the work done by the external field on the material. This is the first stage. Second stage, H comes from OL to O, again comes to 0. When H changes from OL to O, then PM comes to, where it will come? It will come here, from here. It comes to plus OB from OM. Now the external field is decreasing, so now the work is done by the material itself. Now it comes here, then again that is equal to the, it will follow this path. So the area of this region. So in this case, the work done by the material therefore the work done by the material. In this case is equal to area of this AMBA. Now it comes here. Again it will increase in the opposite direction. So when it increases from O to OL prime, the intensity of magnetization comes from plus OB to minus OA. And H changes from O to OL prime, PM changes from plus OB to minus OE here at this point. Now in this case, again the work done is from here this region. Now the work done on the material. That is equal to, in this case, the area BCD EFOB. Area enclosed by this curve is equal to the work done again on the material. Now again the external field comes from here to here, one complete cycle from OL prime to O. To make a complete cycle, the fourth stage, when H comes to O from OL prime, PM changes from minus OE prime, minus OE to minus OF, the initial position from where we have started. Therefore, in this case, the work done by the material, is the area, this one. DEFD. So now one cycle is complete. Now from the figure it is clearly observed that this is the work done on the material and recovery is very small, this 2%. So the remaining part is this one, the area enclosed by the PM loop. This is the PM loop area. So here it is observed that more work is done on the material than recovered from it. So in each process or in each cycle there is a loss of energy. What will be the loss of energy? So the loss of energy, per unit volume per magnetic cycle. What is that? The work done on the material, that is area. What is the area work done on the material? FGAM. Plus another BCDE, FOB. This is the work done on the material minus the work done by the material, which is equal to the area, this one, AMBA plus DEFD. Now, therefore, that is equal to the area, this one, ABCD, FGA. That is the area of PMH loop. So the loss of energy per unit volume per magnetic cycle in a ferromagnetic material is equal to the area of the PMH loop, which is called hysteresis loop. Now, instead of PM, if we plot say BH loop, then what is the relation between PMH loop and BH loop? Now, there is a relation between the intensity of magnetization and the magnetic induction B. From the relation, you know that relation between three magnetic vectors B is equal to mu H plus M. Means the permeability of that ferromagnetic material is very high. So dB, that is mu BH plus mu BM, or PM, right? PM. Rather to confuse. PM. Now, if we multiply by H and integrate, multiplying by H on both sides, H dB and integrate, mu H BH plus mu H BPM. What is the value of this area? HBH, which it represents an area. H is along this direction, DH is also along this direction. The area enclosed by a straight line, that will be equal to 0. So area enclosed by this straight line is equal to 0. So therefore, what we get, H dB is equal to mu H dPm, as this quantity H dH, that is equal to 0. That is area enclosed by a straight line. It is a straight line curve. Now therefore, We know this is the work done, H dPm, that is equal to 1 by mu times H dV. So the relation between the PM loop and BH loop, the area of PM loop is 1 by mu times the area of the BH loop. Now, here we have used this relation, but this is called the relation between the three magnetic vectors B, H and PM. If intensity of magnetization is not there, then B is equal to mu H. That means as you know that we write the Gauss's law in this form, that is epsilon 0 E dot ds is equal to q, and another we write d dot ds is equal to q. This is the Gauss's law in absence of dielectric material, and this is the Gauss's law in presence of the dielectric material. In the dielectric material, the effect of polarization of the charges is taken into account by this vector. Similarly, to derive this relation, we have to we have to derive the relation of the Ampere's law in presence of magnetic material. When we use this form, B dot dl is equal to mu 0 I, this is the Ampere's law in absence of magnetic material. And we shall derive what will be the form of the Ampere's law, that is H dot dl is equal to I. This is the Ampere's law in presence of the magnetic material, and from that we derive the relation between BH and PM. In the next class we shall see this one. Okay. Now therefore, go through this relation we shall derive in the next class.